I'm Wayne, and today we're going to be talking about the return of Movies in the Park featuring Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker.
I'm Robert, and we're talking about public health and safety. How is Montgomery County doing with the COVID?
And I'm Mike, and I'm going to be discussing community reactions to a proposed increase in our gas and water utility rates.
Freethinkers of Clarksville, Episode 4. Michael, can you tell us, what is a freethinker?
Of course. To be a free thinker means that whenever you're given a new argument or a new position, that you evaluate it without bias. And when I say without bias, I mean without your own bias, and you try as much as possible to take the bias out of the person who's presenting it. Cut all that away. Whatever's left, you give that argument as much charitability as you can and evaluate it for what it is.
All right. And Robert, can you tell us, what do we mean when we say it's Freethinkers of Clarksville?
Oh, Clarksville's big and it's booming and it has its own media outlets. The Leaf Chronicle, Clarksville Now, Clarksville Chat, all these social media platforms give us a wealth of information where people can come and comment about really local issues. So we draw from those comments, and those are the arguments we present here on this show.
All right. So our first topic today, I brought a headline in from ClarksvilleNow.com, Movies in the Park to return, starting with The Rise of Skywalker. Guys, later this month, they're going to start Movies in the Park, where you can go out to the park here in Clarksville, watch a movie. They're going to start with The Rise of Skywalker, which is the latest Star Wars movie in the main saga. I think it's episode 9 in the main series, the Skywalker series. I going to the comments, found an interesting one here. I wanted to see what you guys thought. A commenter says, false advertising shouldn't be called a Star Wars movie.
Oh,
Robert?
Shots fired.
Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker.
Sure.
Should it even be called a Star Wars movie?
Should it be called a... Oh, gosh.
Now, have you seen the movie?
I have. I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
I'm going to say yes.
All right. So you disagree with this commenter who doesn't think it should even be called a Star Wars movie. Why do you think it is a Star Wars movie?
Well, because I'm going to give credit to the fact that all the characters are inside the Star Wars universe. All the throwbacks within the movie still throw back to the original.
There are throwbacks.
There are tons of throwbacks. There's even... Did any... wait, hold on. I'm trying to think. Rise of
Skywalker is the
last one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And...
So
yeah.
There was still like remnants of Yoda and Carrie.
Yoda was there.
Yeah.
Carrie Fisher played Princess Leia.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a Star Wars movie.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. How dare this commenter? How dare them?
Michael, having heard him disagree with this commenter, where do you think she's coming from, saying it shouldn't be called a Star Wars movie?
Well, I mean, just got to look at it like this. Every movie that's filled out west is not a Western.
Okay.
All right. Every movie that's filmed in space, is not a sci-fi movie. So every movie that's filmed in the Star Wars universe is not necessarily a Star Wars movie. I mean, it's clearly that this is going a different direction, different idea. It's even a different series. You can't just call it Star Wars like that.
Okay.
So it must be called something else. It must be the feeling's not the same when you watch it. You're not excited to tell your kids about it. It's just like that.
Wow, that's heavy.
Robert, I want to dig
heavy.
into this a little bit more.
Okay.
Because The Last Jedi had a lot of backlash.
Sure.
Because J.J. Abrams took Star Wars in a different direction.
Okay.
We would say that a lot of Star Wars fans would say that the first of the new trilogy, The Force Awakens, right, it almost was too slavishly loyal to the originals to the point where it felt like he was just remaking Star Wars: A New Hope to some extent. Whereas J.J. Abrams, Luke Skywalker was played by Mark Hamill. Mm-hmm. Mark Hamill was quoted as saying in that movie that he almost felt like Luke Skywalker, it wasn't the real Luke Skywalker. He had to get into the mindset of this is somebody totally different because of the things that he was asked to do and say in the middle movie. And I think a lot of people, I would assume a commenter like this says, this carries on that the direction that J.J. Abrams took it, it doesn't capture the essence of Star Wars that a lot of people really like. Did it for you know?
Yeah, well, yes, because okay, when I was a young man and I watched Star Wars with my dad, right? We sat down and watched Star Wars, and now that I'm a father, when I think of the times that I've gone to Star Wars to pass that legacy on to my children, my daughters think of this as Star Wars.
Okay.
They don't think of the old Mark Hamill back when George Lucas, versions of Star Wars. They think of the new Star Wars.
Right.
And I would even say that even segments itself off from the Anakin, the first series.
The prequel trilogy?
The prequel trilogy, yeah.
So for a lot of kids, I know some people, you ask them what their favorite Star Wars movie is, and they'll say The Phantom Menace. And it's because they saw it when they were 9 years old and thought Jar Jar Binks was hilarious.
It is that is the best one. Episode 1.
Jar Jar?
Episode 1's the
You
best
think
one.
you think the Phantom Menace, Episode 1, the
Hands
best
down.
of Star Wars movie, in your opinion?
Hands down, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And second only to, or followed the close second by the new one.
So with that in mind, this new Star Wars movie.
I'm not sure how local this is.
Well, this is what they're going to be playing in the park. This is the movie they've chosen. Clarksville has chosen to kick off movies in the park, and it's The Rise of Skywalker. You already got people saying this isn't even a real Star Wars movie.
Well, it's just come on, get your puristness out of it. Let people enjoy things for what they are.
All right.
You don't have to squatch on them all the time.
Well, we have a special guest here today who I'd like to introduce now. We've got sitting over in the special guest corner today, Denny the Bull.
Nice to have you with us.
It's great to have you, Denny.
It is great to be here.
Star Wars, the Rise of Skywalker. Have you seen the movie?
I saw it once,
Okay,
and I saw Last Jedi once.
right. And this commenter says, in her opinion, it's false advertising. It's not even a real Star Wars movie. What do you think of that?
I would kind of agree with that because growing up, I probably saw New Hope. I've probably seen New Hope 40 times.
Okay.
Saw Empire Strikes Back 50 times.
Mm.
I saw Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker one time each, and they're the only Star Wars films I don't own on DVD
Okay.
because they both sucked. They sucked in different ways.
Okay.
Last Jedi took it in completely different directions. Like you said, Abrams, he was kind of relaunching it. There's a lot of rehashing of stuff that happened in New Hope. But it was still a really good movie. He introduced some really good new characters, Kylo Ren and some of the other folks like Rey.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
All those memorable characters.
Yeah, I didn't buy their toys, so I can't remember their names. But I would say, though, what we need to do is stop and call 911 right now because Mike needs help. If he believes that Phantom Menace is the best of the Star Wars movies
Hands down, the best.
over The Empire Strikes Back,
Oh,
are you kidding?
Sheesh. Come on.
But I think that what they would be better off doing with movies in the park
Yeah.
is go back in Clarksville now and say,
Yeah.
okay, we're not going to play Rise of Skywalker. We're going to play The Empire Strikes Back. And they would probably have 5,000 people show up
Yeah.
if they were playing that movie instead.
All right. I've got a solution here.
Okay.
They just start at the beginning, episode 1. Play
Yeah.
them all.
And just go to episode
2.
No. When you say start at the beginning, you said episode 1, which implies the beginning is Phantom Menace.
The beginning is it's
Whereas
literally
for-
called episode 1.
For many of us,
Yeah.
the beginning is Star Wars, which wasn't even
Who
called
opens
New
a
Hope
book
back
in the
then.
middle and
That's
starts
right.
reading? That's ridiculous. Episode 1, all the way.
Well, agree or disagree, please let us know in the comments whether you
Oh.
think The Rise of Skywalker is, in fact, a real Star Wars movie.
All right, welcome back. I'm going to bring the topic from a galaxy far, far away back here to our local Clarksville area.
Okay.
We all pay taxes, and we all pay for gas and utility, gas and water, right? In the council, they're discussing increasing our gas and water rates.
Okay.
All right. So it's a difficult topic. There was a lot of debate on Clarksville now about this topic. Okay. But in the debate, I found something that I wanted to bring back, a new segment from our show. All right.
All right.
Stumbling all over this. Okay. The segment is called Now That Sounds Like Socialism. All right?
Okay.
All right. If you remember, in our previous segment, we had a commenter that was talking about something similar to this, and they said it sounded like socialism. So I want to read this comment to you that caught my eye. All right? Commenter says, wow. Seems like a hefty increase for something that's already pricey in comparison to other places they've lived.
Okay.
All right. They then go on to make the point we all need water, so we're at the mercy of paying whatever it is that the council decides to charge us. We have to have it. All right. Then she makes an interesting point about how perhaps if instead of giving freebies and incentives to some of the new businesses coming in, the council could instead use that money to help foot the bill for the homeowners for the increased price of the gas and water, for updating the gas and water.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to break this down a little bit. It is true, and we can all agree, I think, that we need water, right?
Sure.
And it is kind of socialist for the government to provide each of us water for a fee, right?
Right.
Anyone disagree with that part?
It's the government taking ownership over an enterprise and distributing it, through government control. It sounds pretty socialist.
Right. Okay. So, do you think it would be better if instead of bringing in new businesses, giving them incentives to come here to Clarksville, that they take that money that they are using for that and instead put it back into gas and water to keep prices low or at the minimum that they could possibly be? So, Robert.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I think. Ooh, this is hard. No, I don't think so. I think that the invisible hand of the economy is Trump's personal homeowner hardship. We have to look at it in the macro. So, bigger business, more development, more homes. It will equalize. For a short term, it's going to feel a little jaded while those prices go up. And yes, you're right. The council is going to give those cuts to bigger businesses instead because our population is growing so fast. But yeah, you're just gonna have to pay it, I think, because we want more here to spur more growth, to have more people, to build other things that the council needs to have. So we need the additional tax income, and without those, we kind of stagnate. If we're always just trying to take care of the people who are here, then we become less competitive to draw people in.
So, Wayne, looks like Robert's siding against the commenter here, saying that investing in the new business is coming, even though it will be harder.
Supporting a rate increase over for our utilities, gas and water. Okay, I can see someone disagreeing with the commenter on those reasons, that we have multiple priorities that need to be balanced, and just simply focusing on that one aspect isn't. I'll from the perspective of the commenter, I can see this. The city's engaging in all kinds of projects and laying out big money, right?
Yeah.
$800,000 for the Roxy, millions upon millions of dollars for this event center, purchasing land here and there, doing all these developments with numbers, so many zeros on the end of them, an ordinary person can hardly fathom it, right? $800,000, you could send $4 to every man, woman, and child in Clarksville, right? And I can understand somebody saying, why not, right? Why are you gonna charge me extra money, right, for my gas and water? In the middle of a pandemic, raise these rates. You're spending all this money on other things. Why not cut $4 off my utility bill or more, right? Why not, focus on saving as much for as many, using the money to benefit as many people as broadly as possible, rather than taking the money and focusing it into benefiting, some developers, in a particular area of town. It has an appeal, right? If you take something like a government monopoly over gas and water, which we've given our government a monopoly. There's not multiple companies, competing for my water bill the way they are for my internet bill. I don't get to choose. I got several choices if I want internet. I got several choices if I want, packages delivered to my house or grocery stores. Water, really only have the one option. And with that power comes a responsibility from our government to be careful not to. It's easy to take a few bucks from a bunch of people and give it to a powerful person, a developer, a friend, somebody coming in who can afford lobbyists and such. It is a lot harder for everybody to say, "Why is my water bill going up?" And I think the actual details of how much we're spending on this, that, and the other versus our water bills. I'm sure it's complex, and that's why we have politicians who are supposed to look at the complexities and balances out for us. But I absolutely empathize with a commenter who feels frustrated where sees all this development around town that doesn't seem to benefit her much at all. A new park, a new event center, but that little bit extra on the utility bill is going to make a big difference in their budget.
So, Mike, going back to your initial "that sounds like socialism" deal, is it because it seems to affect everybody across the scope? Should we be more gradient on that? Like, should we be charging an excessive amount of water to those who can't afford it and actually giving reductions to people who can't? I mean, would that be more fair?
Well, I think you guys have hit it on the head when it comes to the government responsibility, right? Does the government have the responsibility to the people that are here and now, or does it have the responsibility to the future of the area?
Yeah, the potential of
the potential. So when you're talking about when you're talking about spending money, it seems to be the case that some people feel it's important that the people that we vote into these positions, that are in these positions, do their best to make life as good for the people that are here. The disagreement is what exactly does that mean? If we can spend that same money, $800,000, to invest into gas and water that will then lower the price for everyone in the long term, that seems a wise investment to the people that are already here. So it also says if you take that same money and you can increase their lives in another way, then it's worth raising that money. So it's two different ideas that approach it, which is I guess a good way to bring in Denny.
Yeah, let's bring in our special guest.
I'm ready
Denny,
to hear Denny's.
Denny the Bull.
Where does the responsibility lie for the government? Is it towards the people that are here and now, or is it towards expansion or upgrading or bringing in new businesses? If there's money available, should it be used to help those here, or should we use to increase the potential prosperity of the city?
I agree with the commenter. This is socialism, because what they're asking to happen is, because more people are coming into town, are going to need these products. These are consumer products, natural gas and water. As more people are going to come in, they're going to have to pay for that. So the increased volume will be offset by what they're paying now. And this is just kind of a local, scummy way of local politicians tricking people. For example, let's say I'm going to go to Subway and get everybody in this room a $5 footlong. 5, 5, 5, and 5. That's $20, right? Now let's say two more people come in. Am I going to say, okay, everybody, we each need to pay an extra $3 to pay for those two guys' sandwiches? So now it's going to be 8, 8, 8, and 8? No. They're going to both give me $5 too. So now I'm going to get 6 subs, but it's going to cost $30 versus 4 subs, which cost $20. And it's no different for the gas and water customers. The extra money gas and water needs to supply those customers is coming from the new customers. So it's like the wheel tax that we got a couple years ago, right? That was another way to just get more money out of local consumers without anything in return for us. They said it's going into roads. They're not doing anything to the county and local roads. They're doing it to state highways. That money comes from the state, not from the local municipality. So I would just say that in this case, there is no point raising the rates that we're already paying. The product didn't get better. I'm not getting any more of that product. The new consumers are going to pay to offset that cost.
So let's see if we can push back from the other perspective and see if we can find a reason why it might be better to go the other way. Say we have a developer that's coming in and they're going to build 1,000 homes or 500 homes. I don't know what's a reasonable amount of homes for a developer. So gas and water has to be run to those homes. Now those homes aren't bought and sold yet. They're not even, they're built, but the underlying gas and water has to be gone on there. The money to do that has to come from somewhere. Since it's the government owned, then it's going to come from the taxpayers.
And just to provide a little background here, I don't know a lot about the actual workings of gas and water and such, but what I've read suggests that their idea is that they're going to use this extra revenue to invest in new projects, upgrades, things like that, planning ahead for the future, for future developments. That is, we haven't had a big, we expect a big influx of people that will one day start paying for these utilities. So let's go ahead and charge ourselves more now to prepare for those new customers later.
That's exactly
I think that's the
direction
pitch.
I was going. Is that now if we raise everyone's bill by $4, we have the revenue to go ahead and lay the groundwork for all those homes that are coming, so that when those people come, the 1,000 new families come, there's some place to put them. They have gas and water. Then they can start paying their $5 for the sandwich. Right now that's not there. But if we don't have those homes, then we never get those $5.
I guess we're assuming that the entire revenue stream that gas and water gets is 100% covering raw materials, that they're not making any profit on it, that they're not paying for the bureaucracy.
That sounds unlikely.
That sounds highly unlikely.
I agree with that. I mean,
so I would say that gas and water already has a margin to allow for development, for infrastructure, for improvement. I'm sure it's already baked into that rate, and they have to make that investment because they know they're going to get that return with those 500 or 1,000 extra houses that are being built. That's just what the cost of business.
That's fair.
And I don't know that developers don't pay part of the routing of the new infrastructure.
So I think we just really have to come to terms with Clarksville in itself and just decide, are we just following the arrow of progress through the air, or does Clarksville need to stand up and say, we don't want to be a subdivision of Nashville. We don't want to be as big as Chattanooga or Memphis. We want to be done.
Now that'll be an interesting decision that we'll have to make, and I don't know which side it's going to fall down on.
Well,
tell us.
Tell us, tell us in the comments what you think. Do you want your water and gas bill to go up? Do you think it ought to go down? What do you think? Let us know.
All right, welcome back. Last topic for the episode. Guys, I was scrolling around in the Leaf Chronicle website on Facebook, and I saw a new hope for Montgomery County. So, Montgomery County Public Health Director is looking towards the future of the pandemic.
Okay.
And they are very hopeful. For Montgomery County, we're doing something right.
Good to hear.
The article states that the response is hopeful to reduce restrictions and return to some form of normalcy if measures are followed and vaccinations are received by the greater populace, right? So we're still ramping up on vaccinations.
Right.
But that got a commenter in our local community on this post, which I believe when I looked at it, only had this one comment. So I was very intrigued.
Okay.
So this commenter says, and this is in response to what was mentioned in the article, which was that there was that I think the county health official said that it's going to take time to eradicate this virus. So I just want to give you some prelude to what this commenter says.
All right.
Comment is, you don't eradicate the virus. We as a species evolves. Our gut microbiology evolves just as we have been doing with viruses and bacteria since the beginning of time. Our immune systems are absolutely amazing if we can learn to nurture it. By the way, this isn't a vaccine, but a nanotechnology, biotechnology, never before done in humans. A lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
Very, very clear arguments. So I guess the two claims I really want to touch on within that comment are you can't eradicate a virus. Okay? That was the lead in.
Right.
Okay? Second is the new vaccines, right? There's 3 versions from 3 different manufacturers.
Right.
Nanotechnology and or biotech being injected into humans, never done before. Wayne,
Yes.
what do you think about those two things?
This commenter, I can absolutely see where he's coming from. So let's take for example the idea that a pandemic has never been ended by humans. That's, I guess, technically true. I was thinking about obviously if you go back in history, why did the bubonic plague go away? Well, it just went away, right? Why did the Spanish flu go away? And it just went away. I've seen movies where a disease comes with an outbreak and it's a race to find the cure, a vaccine or something like that. But that's not how we've actually ever dealt with pandemics, and that doesn't appear to be the way we're conquering this one. I think there's going to be a lot of people that say, look, yes, we developed a vaccine, but what really killed it off was people just got better, right? It washed through the population. We had and the summer started. Some combination of effects. I'm sure all the vaccine makers will claim victory, and I think that what we've been doing has helped. But historically, if we claim credit for ending a pandemic through human action, right, as in what it would have kept going if we hadn't, I don't know if that's necessarily true. We have eradicated some diseases, such as smallpox is the only major one I can think of that's not out in the wild right now.
Sure.
Other stuff like malaria, we haven't been able to get rid of. We're working on it. We'd love to, right? Try to get rid of some diseases. And this coronavirus, COVID-19, maybe it will go away. But he is right that we haven't figured out anything other than the human immune system that is capable of fighting it, right? We haven't invented a cure for it. We don't have drugs that kill off coronavirus. Mm-hmm. We have methods to promote human immune systems, our gut microbiome and such, to make our own bodies fight off the disease better. That's what the vaccine's intended to do. The vaccine doesn't cure anything, and the vaccine itself doesn't directly fight coronavirus. It just teaches our body how to fight it off ourselves better, helping us to evolve, as he put it,
Sure.
Into people with better immune responses. The part about nanotechnology / biotech and that it's never been done before, my understanding is that's true as well, that the 2 of the vaccines that we're using use new experimental techniques unlike any vaccine in the past that has been used. The Johnson & Johnson variation, I'm told, uses more classic vaccine technology.
Sure.
But the new ones are truly novel, experimental, haven't been used before. They didn't go through the regular regulatory process because we need them for an emergency. And if they work well as we think they're working, might provoke a whole new method of coming up with vaccines in the future.
With a novel coronavirus, you need a novel vaccine.
Yeah.
Mike, how does it feel to be on the opposite end of so much truth?
Well. Let me just start by saying that I think we're using terms like evolution and evolve a little too loosely in this case. I get where the commenter is coming from, but I think that his information is a little bit incorrect, and I think that leads him to erroneous conclusions. Though.
Okay.
So it seems to me that he's under the idea that once we're exposed to, say, the COVID-19 disease, right, our body evolves in some way, changes, that's not necessarily the case. The evolution has already taken place. We have our immune system that is the product of an evolution. So it is responding to the disease. It is responding to the virus, but we are not changing in an evolutionary sense. It is just we are adapting to that virus. But when we have children, they're not going to be born immune to this, because we do not have a genetic evolution that we're going to be able to pass on to our kids. So we didn't change into a different type of human or anything like that just because we were exposed and our immune system works like it's supposed to.
Okay.
So that's the one thing. And I think if he understood that more, I think he probably does understand it, but maybe thinks that it's more impactful than it is. He would be less, the commenter would be less certain that we would just be able to manage it on our own. So we are able now to introduce that virus through these vaccines into our immune systems in a manner that's much safer than just getting exposed to it initially. So it is likely that if you're exposed to a live virus, you're going to be much sicker with a higher chance of death than if you're exposed to the vaccine, because the vaccine mimics the good part of getting an exposure to the virus without any of the harmful side effects or the potentially harmful side effects, right?
Right.
So to say that we eradicate viruses by they just go away. I mean, they don't go away. We just they're around us all the time, including, I don't know about including smallpox. We may have if we actively try to eradicate it, then
yeah. So an argument is that the only way to eradicate a virus is to give it no proper host. It can't. I mean, as soon as it tries to infect and then replicate itself, the body collapses on it and it has nowhere to live. It has no host to live in.
Right.
So, but what do you think about this, the nanotech and the biotech claim?
Well, I don't think that it's a new, never before used technology. And so
that's not your understanding of it?
No, because the technology that was used to develop these vaccines has been around for decades, which is why they were able to develop them so quickly. So even different COVID vaccines exist already, just not the one specifically for the novel COVID-19 virus. So the vaccine, the way that they produce vaccine for those is replicated in the vaccines that we have now. I do not believe them to be some sort of new, exciting technology that we're using to fight it. It's definitely technology, because the companies that produce the vaccines already had the facilities in place to do it. It's not like they built new facilities.
It was like within a month of quantifying its genetic code, they had a vaccine.
Right.
It was just taking the time.
So to say that it's new technology, there'd be no way that they would be able to develop whole systems in place to develop the vaccine within the month of isolating its DNA. I mean, that's just not how it works. And that's not my understanding of how it works.
That and to the nuance of it, I would say this: the mRNA, my layman's understanding of it, the mRNA technology, existed. It just never been used before in an actual publicly available vaccine. So it was new in the sense of it being approved for the first time.
There's never been a reason for it yet. It existed and it had been tested, and they knew it would work, which is why they tried to do it in the first place. But I think it's just this commenter has some good points, and if the facts were in line with his understanding that his points, but I think he's just maybe
just some
misunderstandings.
Let's go to Denny.
Denny the Bull.
The Bull in the corner. Give us your feedback. Which side landed with you on this comment?
Well, as Mike said, with the Operation Warp Speed and how quickly they got it out, it seems like they were using existing technology to get this out. It seems like, and anti-vaxxers are never going to get it because they don't get any. So discounting them, it just seems like every year there's so big a portion of the population that gets flu shots. Is it maybe they should have just relabeled this, rebranded it, the China flu shot, to get all the folks who are reluctant to get it. Okay, so all the folks who were on the liberal side of politics, of course, they were going to run out and get it because the mainstream media pushed, hey, go out and get it. It's safe. Do it. But, if Trump or somebody on the right had said, okay, the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines, those are the COVID-19 vaccines, go get it. Those folks all go get it. But then there's going to be a lot of reluctance, people who don't trust the government. They don't trust what's going on with this vaccine. Say, okay, well, the Johnson & Johnson one is actually going to be called the China flu shot. Right? Because it's no different than a flu shot because the actual sickness is so close to the flu anyway.
And it sounds absurd, but Johnson & Johnson used the old-fashioned, previously approved techniques. You could have absolutely they could have absolutely branded it. You worried about this new experimental stuff? Why don't you use the J&J one? It's the old-fashioned one. You could have
exactly.
You could have had a
you
marketing
could have got
opportunity.
all the other side of the political spectrum. Oh, it's just a flu shot because of the doggone.
I wonder if there's any people out there who are choosing their vaccine based on those kinds of priorities.
So I'm going to get I'm not going to get that COVID-19 vaccine from that liberal Pfizer company.
Right. Sure.
I'm going to go with the Johnson & Johnson.
They make
China
the baby
flu
shampoo
shot.
that I
Yeah,
use.
yeah.
Because I've gotten flu shots for years.
Yeah.
And I don't want to catch that
Yeah,
stuff.
we're used to getting infected with the thing that causes autism. But
Right.
we don't know what's going to happen with this new biotechnology.
I think it was simple branding.
Yeah, it's just a branding issue.
Yeah, it's buy-in is a huge thing when it comes to public health.
It
So
is.
everybody leave your comments. Let us know what you think. We are very helpful here in Montgomery County. I think Montgomery County's done an incredible job of staying on top of it, and I don't think that we've kind of suppressed ourselves as much as other denser populations. But, hey, we never know what the future's going to hold. All right, some great discussions today. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for leaving all the exciting conversational tips we can take. If you want to get more involved with the Freethinkers of Clarksville podcast show, you can hashtag FTOC in any comment thread that you think we should be talking about. So just drag that comment into any thread that you're excited about, any comments you think need a little more attention, need a little more depth of knowledge to them, and we'll pick them up and they could be on the show. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. And thank you to Denny the Bull for being our special guest today. If you are out there and think, hey, I'd like to be a part of this conversation, you might be able to be a special guest on the show. You can go to our Facebook page at Clarksville Free Thinkers, send us a message, tell us if you'd like to be on. We may have you on here.
All right, this has been episode 4 of the Clarksville Free Thinkers. See you next time.